Welcome to a new episode of Education Exchange from Iowa City Public Access TV, and now from Iowa City Channel 4, the Iowa City channel. We were lucky, very lucky to be welcomed by the City channel and to get more audience that can know more about our activities, and we're actually so obliged and so grateful to the efforts of the city manager and his office and officers, especially Mr. Simon Andrew and Mrs. Shannon McMahon. And we had the team at the City Channel, Mr. Ty Coleman, the director, and the director of communication, as well as, of course, my dear friend Kevin Crawley has been a lifelong friend, and he's a technology specialist in the city. Now our program is going to be aired Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday on the City Channel, so you would be seen 3 times. First time, I think, would be at 7 o'clock, which is their high time for shows. And then the second one on Wednesday, we're talking about Monday at 7, and the second one is Wednesday at 11. And then the third one would be Saturday at 4 o'clock. So if you miss the first one, you can catch the second and or the third. Our guest today is Mr. Kurth. Adan Kurth is the Technology and Innovation Director at Iowa City Community School District. And on my left side is the great host, Dr. Viraj Thacker. And we have actually a big audience here. We have Miriam Kurth that decided not to be on the show despite my insistence. She's a kindergartner at Garner Elementary, right?
Alexander Elementary.
Alexander, that's the other side of that.
Yeah.
And we are very happy to have you today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Do your introduction, and then after that, I think we have
some slides or PowerPoint.
We have PowerPoint.
Yeah. Excellent.
That, yeah. So
thank you very much for having me. I actually want to start by introducing the audience, if they're unaware, to the district's Technology and Innovation blog. Just about everything I'm going to talk about today, we've written about in detail. There's a lot of news that's available there, anything that's happening, any new initiatives in the district, and you can find that at innovation.iowacitysschools.org. Again, that's innovation.iowacitysschools.org. So that's a great place to find more information about what we're doing here in the district.
Actually, we are grateful to our director, Mr. Sujat Singh. He already put the website on.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right, so I have a few slides today that I wanted to share with you. Basically, what I wanted to do is talk about what we've launched within the past year, and then what we have going this year as we start the school year. There are a lot of exciting things that I'm personally very excited about seeing get underway and have been pretty well received. One of the challenges that we've faced here in the district is that over the past 2 years, we've had a rapid pace of technology adoption, new initiatives, changes, all driven by what we see as instructional needs in the classroom. Ultimately, that's what this is all for. And so one of the things that I was excited about last year, if we can take a look at that first slide, one of the things I was excited about last year was as we conducted our annual technology program evaluation. For that, we use a statewide program evaluation instrument, and we survey our staff, we survey our students, and we survey parents, actually, and we get information about how we're doing. So this is a pretty holistic look at our technology program. We look at the environment, we look at access to technologies, we look at training and skills, both within our teaching staff, our student body, and we look at a handful of other factors. And despite the fact that over the past couple of years we've had so many changes, which carry with them challenges, no doubt, one of the things that we've seen is for the first time ever, we saw our scores improve overall and across every one of those areas from last year to this year. So that was astounding to see. Beyond that, we saw our scores improve again for the first time ever above both state and Grantwood AEA, which is our region, averages, which we're excited about. It's not all about competition, but at the same time, it does show that we have that improvement beyond what necessarily is happening in the rest of Iowa. And more to the point, all of the scores in each area and the overall was the highest ever recorded in the district. Now, if we can take a look at the next slide, this was the thing that, with all of that, I was most excited about. Every school in our district, so we have 27 schools in the district, and at every single one of them, except Liberty, which didn't exist the previous year, we saw the overall score increase for the building. So a few takeaways that I'm excited about. One is just overall, I feel like we're on the right track. The things that we are doing, again, carry with them challenges. It's a challenge for staff to adapt to new technologies and new initiatives. It's a challenge for students, and it's a challenge for parents in our community. But at the same time, I feel like we're on the right track. And one of our big focus areas, and I'll talk a little bit about this in a minute, has been our focus on equity. We want to make sure that across all of our buildings throughout the district, we're providing what's needed in that building for success. And so again, seeing those overall scores increase in every building indicates to me that we're doing a pretty good job with that. We're off to a solid start with a lot of the initiatives I'm about to talk about. I think people are happy with our progress, and perhaps even more to the point, this really indicates to me that we have pretty broad buy-in on the part of our students and our teachers. Ultimately, like I said, everything that we're doing is targeting student achievement. It's targeting success in the classroom. And so this confirms to me that we're doing things that are supporting that. So on the next slide, one of the things that we launched last year that got a lot of publicity at the time was our one-to-one program in the high schools. So we provided, if you're not familiar with it, we provided every student with a Chromebook, which is a laptop, that they can take home. They can have all the time. And on one hand, this is an equity initiative. On another hand, it's a pedagogy and instructional initiative. If our teachers can't count on students having ubiquitous access to technology, it's very hard to integrate technology. So this gives us that access. Last year we launched the high school one-to-one program. We had a few components of that again, people might not be aware of. One of them was a home internet access hotspot program. So for those students who didn't have internet at home, the district, through a grant through Sprint Corporation, was able to provide hotspots at no charge that students could use no matter where they were to get access. Also, coupled with that, off-campus content filtering ensures that our students are safe and protected whether they're within our walls or not in terms of the online environment. So that's something that we implemented and has largely gone very smoothly. Then also virtual applications. We gave students Chromebooks. If you're not familiar, you have Windows, which most people use, Mac, which runs other software, and Chromebooks use a cloud operating system. Everything exists on the internet. We implemented a service that allows students to run Windows software on their Chromebooks no matter where they are, whether they have the software installed and available in Chrome or not. So students using Photoshop or Adobe Premiere doing video editing, or students using Autodesk for engineering can run it on a Chromebook anywhere with an internet connection. Elementary level hasn't been forgotten by any means. So we've been doing device upgrades, basically cutting our student to device ratio in half as we implement in buildings. We've done more than half of our buildings at this point and keep doing more. The thing that I'm really excited about there is a new deployment model where our buildings are actually choosing what we put in place. So if they want more Chromebooks, if they want more mobile devices, more flexibility, they can have that. If a building wants to have a standalone lab of desktop computers, they can have that. We're leaving it up to the building to determine, what they feel is best for the way that they're delivering instruction. That's been really successful. And we've used Clever, which is a free service that allows us to push out websites and links for kids, especially our youngest kids. You had mentioned my kindergartner here, where logging into a computer can be a challenge. And this is a free service that allows them to basically hold a badge up to the camera on the computer, automatically logs them in, automatically brings up websites that are relevant to them, and then they can access them through there, and teachers have control of that. And then Canvas Learning Management System, if you have a child who was in high school last year, there's a decent chance you know about this. But this is a system that we've used to deliver online course content. Again, gives one place for students and teachers to manage that information, assignments, submissions, grades, things like that. Some of the things that we're implementing this year on the next slide. Junior high one-to-one Chromebook program. We're a few weeks in, and basically this is an extension of our high school program. So far, going very smoothly. People often ask, how often do these devices get broken, that sort of thing. And what we found is, by and large, the devices that we assign to students actually get broken at a lower rate than the ones that we have in carts in the building. The students really take ownership. Yep. It's exciting to see, and we don't have a huge issue with breakage or loss. Expansion of our technology, extension of our home internet access program. I mentioned we had a grant last year through Sprint to provide that to our high school students. We decided that was very worthwhile, though we couldn't extend the grant, so the district has invested in providing that to junior high students as well as a service.
This is more independent, of course.
Yes, yes, it is. Yep, yeah. Yep. Expansion of our technology integration programming at the district level. So one of the things that we know is that as we add more technology and more tools, we need to provide our teachers with training. We need to make sure that they have access to all of the resources they need to leverage that technology in a way that makes sense in their classroom. So one of the things that we've done this year is to change a couple of positions so that they are now full-time technology integration support positions in the district. Very excited about that. We launched for the first time a summer technology professional development catalog. We had over 200 teachers opt in to give up their time to come in and learn about educational technology throughout the summer. That was very exciting. And then another area that isn't really an IT area, but it's something that my department's been pretty heavily involved in, is computer science and STEM. As we get more of this technology, I'd mentioned it's driven by instruction. One of the big benefits is that we can now offer more in terms of computer programming and robotics. Students have access to the tech they need. To support that, a couple of pieces of news this year. One is that the district just a few weeks ago learned that we were a recipient of a National Science Foundation grant for about $100,000 over the next few years to develop a computer science pathway, grades K through 8. So we can start to get kids involved in programming in age-appropriate ways throughout their educational experience, all the way to kindergarten. Very excited about that. And then at the high school level, we learned about 2 days later that we were recipients of a State of Iowa grant to provide training for our high school instructors and junior high instructors, actually, so that we can pretty dramatically expand our computer science course offerings at both of those levels. So very excited about some of the things going on. Again, just a reminder here on the next slide. You can always visit the Technology and Innovation blog. That's available there. Again, we put news, initiative explanations, frequently asked questions, videos, all sorts of things.
So parents can go there and know more.
Absolutely. Yep, we have resources just for parents. Plus, it can be a great opportunity for parents just to learn what's going on.
And in the meantime, you can get feedback about what you're doing,
Absolutely.
how it's received by families and parents and the community.
Yep.
Well, I think both Dr. Hani and I were beneficiaries of your Chromebook program because we had two seniors last year.
Yep.
It was pretty awesome. I mean,
did it go pretty well?
Yeah, they brought it back, and then the part 2 to that, everything instructed through internet instructions and their feedback, all that. Very fascinating. Took me a while to get into it, but definitely was.
Part of the concern of some parents was about the security.
Sure.
Can you address this in more details?
Absolutely. So there are a few different angles to look at. One is general security. What can kids access when they're using a district device? Yeah. And we felt strongly from the start that we wanted to make sure that student computers, whether they were on campus or not, would be protected in the same way. And so we invested in a service called Securely, which does provide off-campus content filtering. So that is always running. Nice thing about Chromebooks, even our most enterprising students, and we have a lot of brilliant students here in the district, but nice thing about Chromebooks, no matter what happens to a Chromebook, gets completely wiped, the second it connects to the internet, it's going to check in and get our security settings.
Wow.
So that's really an advantage. Not to say we haven't had some students who have figured out how to skirt it, but we fix it pretty quickly. But that said, one of the other things that Securely does is it gives parents a little bit of access and oversight ability. As a district, we do not filter as strictly as some districts do. That's not a judgment, it's just the reality. So we certainly meet all federal laws, we surpass them in some cases where we've seen particular cause. But for the most part, we're a pretty lenient filtering district. But we do understand that parents make choices with regard to their household and their children. And so Securely actually gives parents the ability to both see what their kids have been using their Chromebook for. That's something some parents use, some parents don't, that's their choice. It also gives parents the ability to set additional controls when the device is off campus. So as an example, as a district, we do not filter Facebook. We have some teachers who are using Facebook for instruction, using it in really creative ways. We have students who are using Facebook for productive means as well. One of the things, though, that we do know is that some parents will have reasons that they don't want their child on Facebook. Within school, all devices are filtered exactly the same way. And the reason for that is we want our instructors to be able to count on things working for every student. But once the device leaves campus, if a parent decides to impose additional restrictions, they are able to do that. They can't lift restrictions that the district's put in place, but they can impose additional ones. We do have parents who use that service, not all, but some do.
Well, as a matter of fact, the issue of safety, safety through the internet and the connections and the extensions has become very hot topic now.
Yes, it is. And the privacy issue as well.
The privacy and the sexual harassment and all these people that can invade the websites and or the Facebook in order to, harass some people, young kids and so on. So I know that there was a lot of concerns about this, and thank you for providing this explanation of all the safety measures that you're taking.
Well, and actually, if I can add one thing, I've talked a lot about the technical ways we're limiting access or providing more safety. Another thing that's really important for folks to understand is that every student in the Iowa City schools on an annual basis receives age-appropriate instruction in terms of digital citizenship, basically skills for engaging safely online. So we also approach it from the instructional, the learning side, the growth side.
Okay. Have any more questions for
No,
Mr. Kurth?
I've learned a lot of things today. Fascinating.
The only a couple of questions that I have. One of them is related to how do you find the Board of Education and the support you get from the community?
Yep. So I feel that we've had outstanding support from the board and from the community since I started. We're a large community. We're a diverse community. Folks aren't necessarily going to agree about the best route forward, but I was excited when we initially launched the OnetoOne program. We had nearly unanimous support from the board to do that. That was exciting to see. We've had at community comment regularly, especially from the student representatives, which is encouraging, also not that surprising. We've had a lot of really positive comments in support of the programs that we're putting in place. That said, I always welcome people who have questions or concerns to reach out to me. More than happy to engage with people in those discussions. And again, to me, asking questions and dealing with the whys, why are we doing this, is really important when it comes to technology. We shouldn't be doing things just because we can. And my understanding is that our board really understands that. They understand why we're doing what we're doing, and hopefully through our blog and other means, we can really build some of that community understanding as well of what and why we're doing these things.
Well, I was really delighted to hear that you were able to continue the grant through local support, rather than waiting for the sponsor to give you the money and start to impose certain conditions on you, and you have to do this and that. So, I mean, this by itself is a great achievement.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and that speaks to the support we have in the community again for equity initiatives, for making sure that every student in our district has the tools they need to be successful as a scholar, be successful socially in other ways. That speaks to the support. It's not an inexpensive thing to provide home internet access, but it's an incredibly important one, and it's a key cog in making sure that our overall OnetoOne program, really our secondary technology program, is available as a resource without limits.
I think I have the second question that I want to ask was about we know through your writings and your reports about how far did you support that technology through computers. But I'm thinking about something like well, maybe our director would be interested to hear that, about the use of cameras and video productions. And
sure.
Is there any initiative to support that in the school district?
There is, actually. So we have a number of, all of our high schools have video production programs. All of our junior highs and high schools have what are called maker spaces.
What did you call it?
It's called a maker space.
Okay.
And effectively what these are spaces with a STEM focus, which also includes things like photo and video editing and design, production, broadcast, for instance. So at each of our high schools, we have green screen facilities where students can do broadcasts. Students can learn some of those broadcasting techniques and skills. We have teachers who work with them. Certainly, Dr. Schultz at West High School is heavily involved at West, and we do a lot of great things that I don't want to take credit for, because mostly they're organic. They're coming from the buildings, and those in slightly more limited form extend all the way down to our elementary schools. At our elementary buildings, we have some maker spaces. We have some maker spaces on carts, mobile maker spaces, essentially, that include, again, the video production side. They include robotics. They include coding and computer science, tools and gadgets, some electronics development that's available there as well. So we really want to spur our kids' creativity. It's not all about understanding how a computer works, we really want to get kids thinking about and exposed to
multifaceted.
What can I do with these things?
With
whether it's artistic, whether it's mathematics, whatever the case.
Yeah. I think we saw some of that last school year when some of these kids. I know that my son did, and then I think Dr. Elkadi's daughter too. They had a fashion show, global fashion show. Very interesting kind of concepts. And with that, they brought in food. They contacted, various vendors around the city, got their input. They sent stuff.
It was so multicultural activity.
Technology stimulated, but bringing in, other kind of social inputs that were.
And that's ultimately the things that I get most excited about are the things that don't revolve around technology, but they're facilitated by technology.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, it has been a delight having you. Every year now we're looking forward to that. And I think if any of our audience would like to contact you, they contact you through the district?
Yep, through the district. You can reach me by phone, 319-688-1000, or by email, which is my last name, first name, kurth.adam@iowacityschools.org.
Thank you very much, and thanks to our team here, Dr. Viraj Thakur, our director, Sujit Singh, our executive producer, Mr. John Karhov, and our other executive producer who is not here today, Mr. Michael Peterson, and to the team here and the leader, Mr. Geraldo Sandoval and his office, Erin and Juliet and all the people, Alex and Elizabeth and all the people that work here very hard in order to make this. This is a production of Public Access TV, and we are going to be, as we said, on City Channel, which is so exciting, as well as YouTube. As a matter of fact, your channel has stopped already, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
And that was due to what? I got some questions from about that.
Yep, it was largely due to investment in equipment that we needed to do.
Now we have many outlets, and thank you very much. And from Iowa City Studios of Public Access TV, our best regards to the community, and thanks to you for listening and for following us everywhere we go. Thank you.
Thank you.